What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another match review stream as Spurs beat Sheffield United by 2-1. And it most definitely was the late show at White Hart Lane yesterday. Unbelievable stuff, to be honest. Really was unbelievable stuff. But when you, I guess we'll start off talking about from the start of the game, because I think Spurs did start the game well. And in the first half, Spurs were providing all the chances, had all the possession. We were the team in the ascendancy, albeit, you know, Sheffield United did come away with a few presentable chances in the first half. Vicario getting down low to make a good save. And also, I can't remember who were the ones making the last-ditch challenge, but Romero or Van de Ven made a really good challenge in that first half to deny a goal-scoring opportunity. But besides from those two chances, I mean, it was Spurs creating all the... Bissouma went on a mazy run, gets in behind, maybe should have done better. Maddison had a really good chance. We were taking some pot shots from far out. Solomon was looking dangerous as well. But we do go on at 0-0, but we really should have had the lead in the first half, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think the approach in the first half was correct, because albeit maybe the quality of chances apart from the Bissouma one, we weren't able to really create any click opportunities. But what I really liked is that we were not shy of taking long shots and shots in around the penalty area. And when you have the quality of Son, Maddison, and Solomon as well, who had a good attempt probably from the edge of the box, I think you have to try and break the deadlock in that kind of way. If Sheffield United are going to be as stubborn and defend as well as they did in a low block like they did yesterday, I think you just have to basically trust in your own quality to to find the net in those situations if they're going to let you have shots from those kind of situations. And that we were looking dangerous. Maddison had a couple of good attempts. Son, as you say, forced a good save out of Foderingham, and so did Solomon. So we know we have the quality. Unfortunately, we couldn't get over the line. We did obviously create a couple of opportunities, which maybe could have done better from. Sarr had a header, which maybe should have scored. And then obviously Bissouma created that chance for himself, which was our best chance at the half. So I think we were looking bright, looking creative, and our approach play was really strong still. We were able to get to the final third really well. But when you come up against a very stubborn team like Sheffield United, it's never going to be easy just to create the space, find click opportunities. There was one moment, actually, I would say, Maddison plays a really lovely through ball to Son, and his first touch just evades him. And if he gets that touch right, he's in on goal. So there was those moments like that where you can say we could have picked the lock. But if you don't take advantage of those moments, they don't necessarily come again as easily. So we kind of didn't take full advantage of that moment specifically and the Sarr header. But I still felt like even though we weren't creating clear-cut opportunities regularly, we were still forcing opportunities and we're still taking shots and creating situations. And it did seem as though we were looking good. Like at half time, I wasn't sitting here thinking, "Oh, how are we going to win this game?" Like we're really struggling. I thought we're going well. We just need to keep up the intensity and keep up the pressure. I wasn't unhappy at half time, even though it was 0-0. And I think that was probably a testament to how we played.
Yeah, I mean, same as me. I was sitting there at half time thinking, yeah, this goal was definitely going to come. We're going to win this game. We're the team much playing the better football. They were just sitting in their low block, being compact, trying to be hard to beat, which they were. And the goalkeeper yesterday, Foderingham, was just pissing me off, but pretty much from the first half all the way to the end. I mean, he was taking his time with everything. He was on the floor more than he was, on his feet, and it was just like a really frustrating time or in the stands, because like they were just taking every opportunity they could to waste a little bit of time, which I don't blame them for, because when they're coming up a team like us who are kind of relentless in the way we attack, they have to take every opportunity to wean down the minutes, especially when it's at 0-0 essentially. So I think Sheffield United played their game really well, to be honest, but it was more down to Spurs not being clinical enough, really, in that first half. And you go on to the second half, I think there was a bit of a lull period in the game in the early stages of that first half. But Ange did what Ange does best, and he made the changes to affect the game.
Yeah, 100%. I think Sheffield United, to be fair to them, as much as they were defending in a low block and were kind of... obviously they came here with a plan. That was to get the point, frustrate the home fans, slow the game down at every opportunity, waste as much time as possible. That was definitely their game plan. But I have to say, first of all, they defended so well with how many times they were throwing bodies in front of shots, and how many they must have blocked about 10 shots or 15 shots yesterday inside the penalty area. That was really impressive, to be fair. And I have to say, Ollie McBurney was giving us a lot of trouble with his hold-up play. They were going very direct to him. He was winning a lot of headers. I think a lot of the time he was coming on top ahead of Van de Ven and Romero. He was trying to bring Archer into play, who didn't really get as involved as he wanted to. Although there was one moment where he flicked the ball onto Archer and he could have been in on goal if it wasn't for a recovery tackle from Van de Ven, even in the second half. So they had like some moments on the counter where they were looking threatening. It wasn't just like they were low block and didn't want to attack at all. They did kind of force a few situations where we were maybe a bit struggling, but I think we dealt with it fairly well by and large. They didn't really have any clear opportunities, but I think you got to give them credit. I thought they did give us a good game, and they were really struggling to play against. And obviously when the goal came, what was 15 minutes to go, you're thinking, we've struggled this much to score up until this point. How are we going to go and win this game? That was the main worry. Even though at that point, I still felt like we were on top and we were playing well. We were creating opportunities and openings. I did feel like, though, I think Postecoglou made the subs on 80 minutes. And I felt like from like minute 45 to minute 60 or so, we were still looking good. And then we did have the air of a team that seemed to run out of ideas a bit from like for the 10-minute period or 20-minute period before he made the subs. So I think he probably timed that right. But at 73 minutes, first of all, the goal as well, such poor defending, I have to say. It's a long throw. We allow it to bounce.
Goes for everyone, doesn't it?
How do you allow a long throw to bounce in the penalty area like that? Someone has to take responsibility and make sure you're getting that away. I know I'm looking at Kulusevski, and he kind of didn't react quick enough, and maybe he should have got away. It goes over Romero's head as well. And to be fair, the finish is brilliant, right in the corner.
No chance for Vicario.
It's a great finish, but you can't let a ball bobble around like that in the penalty area, like from a long throw. That was really, really disappointing. And at that moment, you're thinking it's going to be one of those days, aren't you? Before the changes.
Absolutely. But I would say, like, as much as we were given problems by Sheffield United a couple of times throughout the game, I thought Van de Ven, I thought he was a level above any defender on that pitch yesterday. I thought he was absolutely sensational yesterday, Van de Ven. How many times did it look like a dangerous situation and Van de Ven was just there to mop up every single time? Aerial ability as well. I thought he was an absolute man mountain yesterday, Mickey Van de Ven. But, I mean, when Ange makes those changes, Brennan Johnson comes on for Heung-min Son, I think it was, with about 20 minutes to go. And he was a proper breath of fresh air when he came on. You could see his direct running, speed. He was running past players and through players. And it was just so unfortunate that goal was just slightly offside, because he took it so well, gets in behind the Sheffield United defence and just finishes it like just such a brilliant finish into the near post. Completely, double guessed the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper just didn't know what to do with it, and he slots it home. And I think that's maybe a sign of things to come that we can expect from Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, and we had that threat in behind on the right-hand side, which as much as I think Kulusevski had a great game, he didn't really offer that kind of threat during the game. He was more kind of ball to feet, trying to create chances with his passing ability, which was, I think, he was doing really well, but unfortunately it didn't really come off for him enough time throughout the game. And Brennan Johnson moved onto the right. Kulusevski kind of moved into the centre, and he was kind of like another midfielder, which was I think crucial for us to put more pressure on Sheffield United. And it was interesting to see as well that, no one's talked about it. He took Son off with 10 minutes to go when we're needing a goal. And maybe on another day, that becomes a story. He takes Son off. Why is he doing that? We need a goal. He's our best finisher, all that kind of stuff. But I like that he took that brave decision, took off our captain. And I think...
Not the first time he's done that, by the way.
Yeah, and I think it was to the benefit of the team. And I think having Richarlison on there, in the centre, having Perisic on the left and Johnson on the right, a kind of a new front three with Kulusevski, with that incisiveness of him and Maddison in the centre as well, I think it really paid off. And Johnson was offering us a different threat on the right-hand side with his pace. Richarlison was offering us a threat we hadn't had all game, which was a presence in the box, which, as much as Son tried his best, he just wasn't able to be a presence in the box when crosses were coming in, and he had to aerially compete with the centre-backs. He wasn't able to do that for much of the game. And Perisic was offering good deliveries from the left-hand side as well. So I think the front three really, those substitutions really did change the game and helped swing it back in our favour.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while that I want to see like Perisic and Richarlison play together, because, Richarlison is the only one that has that presence in the box, like you said, and Perisic has got those crosses on lockdown. And we saw it against Fulham in the Cup, but obviously we didn't see it come to life. But in this game, I thought the subs at that time just gave us exactly what we needed at the time. Perisic to get those beautiful balls into the box, and then Richarlison there to finish it. And they really gave us new life in the attack, to be honest. But the player I want to talk about is Bissouma, because I thought he was our man of the match yesterday, first and foremost. And he was just growing and growing and growing as the game wore on. And you just really saw him just take that responsibility in those last 15, 20 minutes. And he was always asking for the ball, always looking to make stuff happen. And you just saw everything in those last 20 minutes, those last 15 minutes was going through him.
Yeah, 100%. I felt like in those last 20 minutes, he just decided to take the game by the scruff of the neck. He was like, I'm going to take charge of this game. I'm going to progress the ball forward by myself. I don't need to do little passes. I'm going to just charge forward through the space when I see it. And I thought in the first half, he was doing that on occasion. Obviously, with the chance that he missed, he had a few moments like that. But he almost became like another playmaker in that second half in the last 20 minutes when we really needed him to step up and we needed something to happen. He was just making things happen with his dribbling ability and his progressive, when his ability to progress the ball forward with ball carrying ability, and it was just absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed his performance the last 20 minutes. His passing as well was his pass over the top for Brennan Johnson, which nearly got a goal as well. It was a brilliant ball over the top from him. I thought his long passing was on point for a lot of those that period in the game in the last 20 minutes. And I thought he really took that game by the scruff of the neck. And if it wasn't for him, I think it would have been a lot easier for Sheffield United to see out those last 20 minutes without much trouble. And I thought he was the one that really put a lot of pressure on him. And there was a reason why we kept finding the wide players in really dangerous situations. And we kept getting the fullbacks isolated because he was moving the ball very quickly and with a purpose as well. And I agree. He wasn't my man of the match, but I thought he was sensational in those last 20 minutes. And I was so happy with how he stepped up for the team.
Well, I'm guessing your man of the match is going to be Dejan Kulusevski.
It would be. I thought he was fantastic throughout the game. I thought the goal that he scored was really good reward.
What a finish.
It was a top finish on his right peg, and I think it was good reward for what was a really positive display. I thought on the right-hand side... His best performance
of the season by far.
Yeah, I thought on the right-hand side he was constantly causing them trouble, but it wasn't just with his dribbling ability. I thought a lot of people keep saying he's predictable. I think a lot of the time he's going on the outside and he's using his right foot, and I thought he did that a lot of the time yesterday. And I thought his passes into the penalty area, what I really like about him is he does this thing where when he squares up a man, but you're thinking he's going to go left or right with his dribbling ability, but a lot of the times as well, he'll just give a quick pass into the penalty area, then follow his run and get the 1-2. And it's really hard to stop when he's doing that because he's so strong, you can't outmuscle him. He can breeze past you with his running like that, and he'll pick the ball up and then he'll get the ball in the penalty area and either look to shoot or little dink to the back post. Or I like his creative passes. He more often than not, he comes up with a lot of unpredictable passes that a lot of people aren't seeing. And we've seen that he's got that ability, especially when he first came, to do that, and I think he's bringing that back into his game, in my opinion. That ability to be a creative passer on the right hand side. I think on the day he had 5 key passes. That just goes to show how creative he was throughout the game. He created a lot of chances for his teammates to score. Unfortunately, the clinical edge wasn't there, but I thought as well when he moved into the centre, it brought an extra element into his game. And I'm not sure whether that's going to be like, okay, he's a number 8 now, it's his position. I still think he looked very good out wide, but it definitely added an extra element of incisiveness when we needed to break down that low block. Yeah. And Ange was saying after the game, he threw an extra attacker on and even brought Højbjerg on to be an extra midfielder because he knew Sheffield United, those last few minutes, they're not going to be attacking, they're not going to be going forward. We can throw caution to the wind and really put pressure on them. And I think moving Kulusevski into that number 8 position, and then you had Højbjerg there next to Bissouma for the extra protection, I think it really worked a treat. And we were creating a lot of chances in those last few minutes. It wasn't just the goals we scored, we were putting a lot of pressure on them. And it just seemed like it was a matter of time before the goal came, and that's what happened, and we got our reward.
Yeah, we really did. But in terms of Kulusevski, I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Don't get me wrong, I really did, and I thought it was his best performance by a long way. But the problem I have with Kulusevski so far this season is that we see him take up good positions, we see him take on his man, and we see him play well. But it's what happens after that, and I feel like so far this season, apart from this game, his final ball on a consistent basis hasn't been good enough, and it comes up in failed attempts more than not. But in this game, I felt like like he was back to his best or getting back to his best. So I think like the criticism for Kulusevski so far this season has been warranted, but in this game was an absolutely unbelievable display. It really was. He was our most creative outlet out of the front line. He was better than Solomon. He was better than Heung-min Son. I thought he was even better than Maddison in the game yesterday. So I'll put him probably second in terms of man of the match rankings. I think still Yves Bissouma was the best player for us on that pitch, but that's exactly what I've been calling on Kulusevski to do. Get that final ball on, get that creative kind of actions working again, like we saw him do it when he first came to Spurs. And I think that's exactly what he did yesterday. And I did think, like you say, he looked even better when he moved into the number 8 position. So yeah, big up to Kulusevski, because that's exactly the performances that we wanted to see from him. And I think the criticism was warranted, and he's acted on those criticisms and provided a brilliant performance for us on the pitch yesterday.
I think for me, the criticism's been a bit over the top. I think he's actually had a good start to the season. I think, yeah, look, you can always improve. Everyone can always do better. And yeah, I want to see more from him, 100%. But I think a lot of people have been saying he's been poor or not, hasn't been good. I think he's had a really good start to the season, in my opinion. I think even in the first games before the international break, against United, against Bournemouth, even against Burnley, I think he's played quite well. And I think, yeah, this game was probably his best. But I think he's had a fine start to the season, and I'm really happy with him right now. And I want to continue in this way. And I feel like he's gaining more confidence. And you can see as well in the international break, he was playing with full of confidence for Sweden as well. So I'm hoping we're seeing the Kulusevski return that first game to Spurs, rather than the one that was on the pitch for the majority of last season. But I'm really happy with Kulusevski, and I really think he's getting back to his best.
Well, at the end of the day, you can't really knock 2 goals and an assist in the opening 5 games of the season. When you look at it, he had 2 goals the whole of last season. So he's already equaled that. So, look, I think we're on to a good thing with Dejan Kulusevski, not going to lie. So, and apart from that, I thought, like we mentioned before, Perisic came on and did the exact job what he was asked to do. Richarlison just so needed that. What happened on the pitch yesterday, with everything that happened around midweek, with him coming out talking about his mental health issues, with Spurs fans kind of turning on him a little bit with his performances last season and the start of this season with no goals, essentially. He gets a goal and an assist and provides exactly what the team needed, with a presence in the box, lovely header to put it away, and a lovely assist as well to tee up Dejan Kulusevski. So I think Richarlison can't come away with more praise than he's getting at the moment.
Yeah, and as I was saying before, like throughout the whole game, I really felt like we were lacking. So when we were swinging crosses, I felt like it was swinging crosses to no avail, because we had Sonny in there. And yes, unless like we had some runners from deep who were kind of going to get in on the blind side of some of the defenders, didn't really have a player in the box who was going to win headers and compete physically with the centre backs. I think Son had one header which he won from a Solomon cross. I think that might have been in the first half, but you're never really confident he was ever going to get any purchase on that header or get it on target. And Richarlison, I think Richarlison pretty much proved what we were saying before the game. In this kind of game, I think Richarlison was always going to be a bit more effective than the Son up front. I did think Son tried his best. I think Son did what he should be doing in this kind of game, which is trying to find a bit of space in between the lines with his pace, but it's always going to be difficult to find that space, and also coming deeper and getting long shots off and trying to impact the game in that way. And he did that to a decent extent, but it wasn't as effective as it could have been. And so when Richarlison comes on, I think all of a sudden you have a presence in the box. You have someone to aim at when you're crossing the ball in. You will have someone who's a lot more physical, willing to battle with the centre backs, willing to get involved with a bit of the physical battles, which was really, really good. And it wasn't just the header. He had a header just before he scored as well, which was over the top, which was a good chance. All of a sudden we were able to play passes into him, and he was able to physically compete with a lot of the centre backs, wherever Son was getting shoved aside a lot more easier. And then obviously he gets the goal from the corner, which was a brilliant header, bullet header into the corner. No arguments with it. Brilliant. Did brilliantly to shake off his defender as well. If you see in the replay, does really well to do that. And then for the equaliser as well, I thought he had brilliant presence in mind to pick out Kulusevski inside the box. I think the weight of pass and the time in the pass was really good, and I'm so happy for him, because it's been such a difficult time for him at Tottenham, and you saw how, I don't know where, look, you saw it was a bit of like weight lifted off his shoulders at the end of the game, Son coming over to him, and there was such beautiful words from him and Son after the game saying, Richarlison scoring today was even better than me scoring. I'm so happy for him. And that's how a captain should act. And, you know, you would have think as well, it's interesting, the dynamic, because obviously Richarlison is technically, you know, his competition for that central striker spot. Yet you see Son at the end of the game, he's pushing Richarlison to the south stand. He's just so happy for his teammate that he's got to put in a really good performance, and he's got a goal, and hopefully that's a bit of weight lifted off his shoulders after a very difficult time. And that's how I love to see that from Sonny. It's such great captain material, really lifting up his teammates. And I'm really happy for Richarlison. I think yesterday was hopefully a start of a good run for him. Hopefully he can take that. And to be fair, that's what, 2 goals in 3 games now for him in for Spurs. So hopefully that's the start of some good run of form for him. And I think he impacted the game as much as he could have when he came on in that period, and exactly what we needed. Yeah,
brilliant subs from Ange Postecoglou at the time. He gave us exactly what we needed. And big up to Richarlison, big up to Heung-min Son, big up to everyone, to be honest, because look, we were like you said before, we were talking about before the game about Alejo Veliz, like how this game could kind of suit him because we need a presence in that box to whip balls in, especially against the low block. And that's what came to pass, isn't it? At the end of the game, that's what we needed to go and win that game, with the beautiful crossing of Perisic and the aerial ability of Richarlison. Because every time Sonny got the ball in that number 9 position, he was just being crowded out every time. And like you say, you just needed that physical presence in the box. And that's exactly what Richarlison gave us in the most dramatic of circumstances yesterday. I mean, I tell you, that stadium absolutely popped off yesterday. It was incredible. Like, you would have thought, like, a win against Sheffield United, the fans would just be like, yeah, that's what we should be getting anyway. But there is such a togetherness everywhere on this club. You can, like what you were mentioning before about the Sonny and Richarlison thing, that is just another bit of proof towards how together this whole football club is, how everyone is pushing in the same direction. The fans are on board. The manager is central to everything. The players are just all pulling in the same direction. It's like, I haven't seen this club probably since the peak Pochettino years with such a good vibe around the place. And the atmosphere is just incredible every single game at Spurs now. And it's like, even if something isn't building, it feels like something special is building here for sure. It really does. And it feels like the beginning of something, a journey that everyone is taking together and everyone is singing off the same sheet. So I couldn't be happier with the way things are going at Spurs at the moment. But like I keep saying, like we keep saying over and over again, we're not going to be judged on these games. We're going to be judged on these games coming up against Arsenal and against Liverpool. And if we can come away with those 2 games unbeaten, I mean, it's going to be hard for Spurs fans not to get carried away.
Yeah, who knows what we can achieve if that happens. But I think yesterday, it was testament. Yeah, as you say, that I was listening obviously in the studio, but I was listening on my headphones and I can hear, like, it was just incredible, the atmosphere, how the atmosphere was against a game like Sheffield United, where you would think Sheffield United at home, usually that's the atmosphere would be dead. It wouldn't be like a great game of football. Great atmosphere, sorry. It's just like a standard game. Yeah, the atmosphere was so electric. What was the most telling thing for me? Listening, I don't know how it was in the game, but listening on the headphones, even when we were 1-0 down, the fans kept encouraging the team. They kept singing. They kept showing support. And that was really encouraging to see, because usually in that kind of situation, if you're 1-0 down, against our home Sheffield United, 15 minutes to go, usually the place is quiet. We're just like kind of dreading what's coming next. It's not a great situation. And to see the fans kind of keep giving encouragement to the team, even though we're, basically staring a fairly embarrassing defeat in the face at home Sheffield United, even though that is the situation, the support was still strong for the team and it was still there. And maybe last season, if that same situation would have happened, we go 1-0 down Sheffield United with 50 minutes to go, the fans wouldn't have reacted in the same way.
But that just reminds me of what the fans were like under peak Pochettino. When we were going down, what did you hear? What was the first thing that you heard? Come on, you Spurs, come on. It didn't matter that we went 1-0 down, because we always had the faith and belief in the team with the way they play that they could get back into this game. And that was exactly the same situation yesterday. And in fact, it was actually a bit of a quiet period before Sheffield United scored. And as soon as Sheffield United scored, that's when the Spurs fans rose. And that's when the team needed us. in the most important part of the game. We went 1-0 down and we got our rewards for it. But we got to talk about the referee yesterday, because what a shocking display from him. What a shocking display. I mean, the things that he got pretty much everything wrong on the day. And it's just like he was giving bookings for the most needless things in the world. Like Maddison goes down to his knees and puts his hands in his head, and we're just like, and he gets a booking for it. McBurney gets sent off for saying, oh, he was pulling my shirt. I mean, what was he doing yesterday for the most part? I mean, the time wasting situation, like he kept warning him saying, oh, if you keep time wasting, you're going to get booked. Well, he kept time wasting and he never got booked. I mean, I just don't know what the ref was playing at yesterday, and it was a frustration for every single fan in that stadium, not just Spurs fans, but Sheffield United fans as well. It's just like even the Sheffield United manager was getting completely irate about the situation. I mean, how can we have such bad officiating when there's so much money in this league? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, he completely lost control of the game very early on. He was very card happy. I thought he was way too card happy for the kind of game that it was. I didn't even think it was a particularly dirty game. Yeah, every tackle he was handing out yellow cards like there's no tomorrow. I thought Maddison definitely should have had a penalty in that first half. Clear kick in the ankle, and VAR doesn't go back and check it, which I don't understand. It was very clear foul. It was a carbon copy of the Son situation against Brentford, and the VAR got involved in that one and decided to call it back and say, oh, actually it's a penalty. Yeah, there was no VAR check for this one. VAR decided that it wasn't clear and obvious, which is baffling the consistency in this game at the moment.
All you have to do is compare it to that one that we gave away at Brentford, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it's like 10 times more a penalty. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I think they're both soft, but I think in a perfect world, VAR doesn't get involved in either, in my opinion. I think you just go with the on-field decision.
But I thought it was a stonewall penalty yesterday.
I think it's a penalty. I think it's a bit soft because I think he kicks him, but I don't think it's I don't think Maddison's going anywhere. Like I think it's a penalty. I don't think he kicked him hard enough to get him onto the ground. I just think he felt contact and goes down. But what I'm saying is, if VAR is going to get involved in the Son one, which I disagreed with, then it has to get involved in this one because it's the same situation. Yet the consistency is not there. I think in a perfect world you don't get involved in either. But if they've made that decision, then you have to get involved in both, and it didn't. So I'm very, very frustrated with the consistency of VAR. I think there was a really odd, which we'll go into because there's a super chat here. It says, Ivan D, do you know who threw the balls from the stand?
Oh yeah, it was me, mate. No, I'm joking. I have no idea. It was someone from much lower down. But I mean, I was actually getting like proper frustrated at the fans throwing the balls onto the pitch, because the balls get thrown onto the pitch, and then the referee just makes the most bizarre decisions about the balls being thrown on the pitch. Like Spurs were penalised because the Spurs fans were throwing the ball onto the pitch. It made no sense.
Well, the odd thing was, it happened the first time. So Spurs take a short corner, the ball gets thrown on the pitch, and then what happens is the referee gives a drop ball to Spurs, pretty much by the corner flag, and we play on from there. That was the decision on the first time. And the second time it happens, he gives a different decision. He decides to give a drop ball to the Brighton keeper. So
Sheffield, yeah.
Sorry, the Sheffield keeper. So I don't understand why the exact same situation happened, yet the two different decisions. So really, really odd from the referee. I think the right decision would have been, again, a drop ball to Spurs. That is the correct decision. And apparently, I saw on Twitter yesterday, someone was looking up the rules of the game, and the right decision would have been a drop ball to Spurs. So he got it right the first time. So I don't understand why in the second time he just made a different decision.
It seemed like he was just getting frustrated because the Spurs fans were the ones throwing it onto the pitch. So if your fans are the ones that are throwing it onto the pitch, so you're going to get penalised. That's just literally what it felt like.
Basically. So I think he just had a really, really terrible game, the referee. He completely lost control of both sets of players as well. And he was just making some really weird decisions. And I think...
Apparently this referee has history for giving really bad decisions against Spurs.
Really?
Yeah. Graham was telling me in the game yesterday, I can't remember which decisions actually he was talking about, but a couple of really bad decisions over the past couple of years he's been responsible for.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know about that. But look, I don't even think he particularly, apart from the penalty decision, I don't think he particularly robbed us of anything that we should have had. But it was just a general management of the game, which I felt was really, really poor from him. It wasn't even any like big decisions. It was just like a series of small decisions that he kept getting wrong and being really strange about, and just giving bookings left, right, and centre. Maybe he was taking the directives. Like sometimes you got to use common sense, and sometimes if you see someone is frustrated by a decision, you can't just like book him straight away. You got to use your common sense. And yes, if a player's getting in your face and he's being and he's showing dissent and things like that, then yeah. But I don't even think that was the case for a lot of the things. It was just people saying like shock at his bad. He would like make a bad decision. The player would be like shocked about his bad decision. He'd be like, and then okay, you're being booked. He's like, what? It was a bit crazy. So
completely up his own arse, that ref yesterday.
Yeah, I have to say he was terrible. But look, we got the win in the end, in dramatic circumstances. The way we won as well, I think that it was the latest ever win in Premier League history, which was absolutely fantastic.
Beating our own record.
Exactly. And I think we deserved it. I think on the balance of play, we 100%. Were on top. We were the ones making the running, creating the chances, getting the shots off. And I think it would have been really unfortunate if we were to lose. But I was speaking to Andy yesterday, and it was interesting because I also felt like this, like, yeah, even when we were losing and we were staring defeat in the face, even in deep in stoppage time, I didn't have that feeling of like, oh, we've been shit today, it's been terrible performance, like I'm really frustrated. I had the feeling of like, it's frustrating that we've lost, but I can clearly see we're going the right direction. Like I even had that when we were losing. I was going to take the defeat on the chin and then we move on. But the fact that we were able to turn that around in that situation just shows hope and mentality that he's instilling in this team, the togetherness and the we never stop mentality that he's been known for.
Absolutely. I was saying to people around me yesterday during the game that we can still win this game. We were going into the final 5 minutes of the game, and because of how badly the ref managed the game and all the stoppages, stop, start, we knew that there was going to be a bundle amount of stoppages added on at the end. At least, I was thinking in my head at least like 10 minutes, right? We got 12 in the end, and it could have been even more, to be honest. But because we had so long left, like if we got a goal at any moment in those last 5 minutes or in the first 5 minutes of stoppages, there was time for us to go and win that game, and that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. So I think you got to give a big up to Ange Postecoglou and the team for the way they conducted themselves yesterday. Another really strong performance, albeit maybe not as strong as we've seen in previous weeks, but still a really strong performance and definite deserved 3 points from Tottenham Hotspur at the stadium. And also a massive big up to the fans as well, because another sensational display from the Tottenham fans yesterday. And
also, after the game, they played Angels over the Tannoy. And that was a brilliant moment. And I just love the kind of party carnival atmosphere that they're starting to create now after games, after wins. And it's just lovely to see. Like usually, even last season, like after a win, they'll just play Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur, and everyone goes home kind of thing. But now it's like they're playing the party tunes. Like the fact that players are coming over there having a bit of dance with the fans as well. The fact that you really feel like the players really appreciate with the fan support. Last season, look, I'm not like saying it was bad, but like they'd come over and give a clap. It was like very muted. But
it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, but now it's like they're proper getting involved. They're like dancing with the fans. It's like a really great atmosphere.
I actually think that it might be a bit unpopular, but I think like the togetherness that they're showing now, and the togetherness and the appreciation that they're showing for the fans is better than what it ever was under Pochettino.
It's hard to say because it's so early on, but I think especially in Poch's early days, 100%. I think Poch's early days were actually quite toxic still because of a lot of different situations. But I think I remember situations. Well, obviously in the Champions League run, I remember that big game when we beat Man City away. There was togetherness. But I guess in home games, no, but
that's a completely different situation you're talking about. You're talking about one of the biggest moments in Spurs' history, getting to a Champions League semi-final. Obviously, they're going to come over to the fans. I'm talking about a game against Sheffield United at home, Bournemouth away, Burnley away. These games where, in previous, even under Pochettino, they'll come over to the fans and clap and that's it. Not come over and dance with the fans and the fans singing each and every player's name and it's a party atmosphere. I don't ever remember that happening consistently week after week.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. So I think you probably make a good point. but it is only 2 home games. But look, they've been great. They have been amazing.
And 3 away games.
I just wish every home game is going to be like this, because it's so much fun. Even when I wasn't here, I'm watching it. I'm just enjoying every second of it. So I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah. All right. So that is your match review from the 2-1 win in a late show for Tottenham Hotspur yesterday. Let's get on to a couple of super chats before we go on to our player ratings. We got to the first one from Ivan D. Next one is Howie EIS saying, Lashana Tova, Kulu was good, but in his short appearance, Johnson looked dangerous and at a higher skill level and will end up in the starting 11. And I was actually talking about this with Grandpa yesterday, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't think it's fair to take Kulusevski out of the game after such a great performance. But I actually think Brennan Johnson will be more suited to the game next weekend at Arsenal than Kulusevski will be.
I agree. I think we should probably start Brennan Johnson. I think sometimes you have to be harsh. Like, for example, I wouldn't, even though Richarlison had a brilliant game when he came on, I wouldn't start him against Arsenal. I'd start Son.
Imagine the threats of Son and Brennan and even Manuel in behind against Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. I want to really hurt them where they're at their weakest, which is where the space is out wide, where they're really vulnerable with killer pace. And look, I'm not to say that I don't think Kulusevski can cause Zinchenko problems or anything when he's on the pitch. I'm sure he can, but I just think to really have that killer instinct, I think Son and Brennan Johnson should be in the team next week. Just like, Richarlison probably should have started. Yes, potentially should have started here just because of the game of that suited his what the game required. It probably should have been Richarlison in hindsight. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, and I think what the game requires against Arsenal, I do think Brennan Johnson's going to be of better value. Does that send a bit of a bad message to Kulusevski though after such a strong display to come out the team for like the biggest game of the season? It's nothing to do with his personal performance. I think, as I've said, I think he's been great, and I'm not even mad if he does start. I think he can be good if he starts. So I'm not going to say it's a bad decision, but I just think if I'm just tactically where I think we can hurt Arsenal the most, I think Brennan Johnson can hurt Arsenal a bit more than Kulusevski. And I'm guessing the same will be for Liverpool then as well, the week after. For Liverpool when at home, potentially as well. Yeah, I think potentially as well. Brennan Johnson can attack that space that Liverpool leave behind as well a bit better than Kulusevski can. So, it's going to come up to what Ange thinks. I do think Ange will probably go with Kulusevski, which I don't mind. Great option to have, though, off the bench. Exactly. Maybe Brennan Johnson come off the bench as well when, if need be. And even if, say, we're leading, that'll be even better. If we're like somehow in the lead in these games and then Brennan Johnson come off the bench and really stretch them on the counter-attack, that'll be fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait. Timmy Schnitzel says, we don't stop. And no, we definitely don't stop. We never stop. But look, let's get into our player ratings and let's start off with Vicario. 7s all round for Vicario. And look, for the goal that we conceded, I don't think he could have done anything about it. It was just a wonder of a strike, to be honest, right into the side netting. But he did make some crucial saves for us throughout the game. There was one in the first half where he got down low. I actually thought it was a much better save live when I saw it back. I thought it was pretty much a routine save getting down, but he did make one really big save in the second half as well. And everything that came his way, I thought he dealt really well with. Playing out the back was fairly good as well. So good display from Vicario. But what I really like about Vicario is how he organises his defence, how he's constantly in the ears of his centre-backs and his full-backs. And he seems like a bit of a leader there at the back, and he looks like a proper keeper. He should probably get another point for that run he did for the goal as well. Yeah, absolutely. The celebration, unbelievable. He somehow got there in like 5 seconds, quicker than bloody Usain Bolt. I don't think he got there so quickly. But yeah, great save from Vicario, which kept the game at 0-0 at that point, and that was a crucial save. I don't think he made too many other saves other than that, did he? And any saves of note anyway. So I think it was a really solid display. Getting used to saying maybe Vicario doesn't have too much to do, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I think it continues his good start to the season, to be honest, and I'm really liking how we're settling into this team. And he also came for a few crosses and corners and gobbled them up with ease, to be honest. And I feel like Vicario is like growing in stature in this team week on week. I can't believe how good he's been, to be honest. I keep saying it, but I was absolutely like not happy with Vicario after the first game and what he's shown in pre-season. But he has grown in confidence, grown in stature as the season progresses. So big up to Vicario.
couldn't wish. I mean, and now I'm preferring him to David Raya. Who needs an Arsenal bench warmer? Next up is Pedro Porro. 7s all round for Pedro. I thought it was a really strong showing from him again. Maybe not as strong as it has been in previous weeks, but there was one really nice moment when the ball came to him and he completely dummied the defender and went the other way, and it started us on an attack. But I thought defensively he was okay, maybe lacking in one or two situations, but going forward and really providing an option for us in that middle of the park, I thought he did really well.
Yeah, another strong display, maybe one of his more quieter ones, but again, he showed his moments of quality in patches. Although I would say he was quiet, but he'd actually had 4 key passes on the day, so clearly he was involved a lot in the attacking moments as well. Yeah, I was pretty happy with him. Another really solid display. I think a lot of the time people were are worried about what he's like defensively, him being caught out, but he hasn't really been caught out since he's come into the team, to be honest, and he's shown that really solid side to his game, and he still provides that threat going forward as well when given the opportunity. His crossing ability is fantastic. I think it might have been his cross which Richarlison headed over the bar just before he scored as well. So I think he's doing a really, really good job for the team. But he clearly ran his socks off because I think he had to go off with cramp as well at the end of the game. So yeah, such a hard work.
It was him on the floor, wasn't it, where Romero was giving him a stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's talk about Romero now. 8 all round for Kuti. Another brilliant display from Kuti Romero. I don't think he maybe he could have done a bit better for the goal that we conceded, but apart from that, I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest. The whole game, aggressive, bringing the team up the pitch, lovely dinks into the midfield as well. I thought Kuti Romero is growing in stature. I think he actually gave away a foul. Did he give away a foul yesterday? That's it, his first foul of the season, finally, Kuti.
Well, what about this? 13 yellow cards and not one of them for Romero.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So what odds would you add on that? 13 yellow cards in the game. Romero wasn't one of them to get booked. Still no yellow card for him this season. I think, again, showing the responsibility he has on the team. And I thought Cameron Archer he had in his pocket, absolutely. I thought Archer threatened on a few occasions to do something, but Romero just had him knocked down. I think McBurney was more Van de Ven's guy. Romero kind of just dealt with Archer whenever he had the ball. And I thought when we were pressing Sheffield United late in the game, I remember there was one lovely dink pass into Højbjerg, and then Højbjerg heads it across the face of goal, and it leaning goes for Richarlison. It gets headed out for the corner, which we eventually scored from. That was a really lovely moment from Romero as well, and I think his passing ability is improving game on game as well. I think it's so incisive, and I think another really strong showing for Romero.
Absolutely, but for me, all the plaudits, well, not all the plaudits, but most of the plaudits in the back line goes to this next guy, which is Mickey van de Ven. I thought he was absolutely sensational. Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 9, especially in the first half when Sheffield United threatened on the counter-attack. He was putting out fires left, right and centre with strong challenges, aerial ability, bringing us up the pitch as well. I just thought from a defensive standpoint, Mickey van de Ven was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he dealt with McBurney fairly well. I would say I thought McBurney was getting the better of him aerially more often than not. And I think the stats bear that out as well. I did see that during the game. I thought McBurney,
what's the stats saying?
I thought McBurney was winning a lot of headers. If you go to the aerial duels, Mickey van de Ven won 5 out of 15 and McBurney won 13 out of 21.
Bloody hell.
McBurney was really dominant aerially. Not just to Van de Ven, but whoever was competing with.
I was just sitting there in awe of Mickey van de Ven during the game.
He won a lot of them, but Bernie was he won 13 out of 21, which goes to show how strong he was in the air. But I thought, by and large, especially when the ball was in general play, he was absolutely stalwart. I thought he complimented Romero so well again. I thought it's again on the ball, so composed, progresses the ball so quickly, and he's just looking more and more confident as the games go by, and he's looking to take charge of these situations. And he's such a delight to watch. He's so graceful on the ball as well. Yeah. Is that you got the bulldog in Romero, and you've got this graceful centre back in Van de Ven next to him, and it's such a great partnership. And they're really growing together week on week.
Yeah, I mean, everyone around me was just going, this guy is just Vertonghen on steroids. That's what people were saying in the stands yesterday. And that's what it seems like. He seems like Vertonghen, but with just so much more pace.
Yeah, he is. That's exactly what he is. And taller. He's taller and more pacey than Vertonghen.
Next up, our left-back destiny, Udogie. 7s all round from him. I think it was, compared to his other games, fairly quiet and less influential than it has been. But I think what he does, those drives down the centre of the park are just unbelievable. He wins the ball high up the pitch once again to provide a goal for Tottenham Hotspur, this time the winner in the 100th minute of the game. And the guy just does never run out of energy. He literally just never runs out of energy. Has he got a battery packed it like strapped into him or something. I was just like, what is going on?
Well, the 100th minute, he's pressing the Sheffield United fullback and winning the ball high up the pitch. You remember, what was it, last week against Burnley? I think it was also in the 95th minute. He's doing like a charge down the left-hand side, like beating players. It's like incredible, his energy levels, and that is his one of his biggest strengths. I would say, I would agree with you. He wasn't really involved maybe enough in the attacking phases. I don't remember him too much getting to the byline, whipping crosses in, or getting shots off or anything like that. There were a few occasions in the first half, especially where he was trying to be that extra man in the centre and trying to get into the box, but wasn't really getting much joy. I think maybe the deep block of Sheffield United were preventing him getting a lot of space there. I didn't think it was a bad game by any stretch. He still played really well, but I think maybe, in other games I think he's more just offensively. You see him a lot more in the offensive situations, and in this one I think he was a bit deeper and just maybe covering a bit more of the defensive spaces. I
felt like through general play he was actually a lot more influential maybe in the first 20 minutes than he probably was throughout the game. I thought he started the game really well, but then kind of, I wouldn't say weaned out of it, because he was still really good throughout the game, but he just wasn't as influential maybe as he was in the first 20 minutes of the game. Moving on to Pape Matar, 7s all round from us. Again, another Duracell bunny or whatever they call them. Like, he is unbelievable, just bundles and bundles and bundles of energy. Within the first 20 minutes, I think he had about 2 shots on target already. And I was thinking, this guy's definitely getting on the score sheet today, but alas, he didn't. But I think he still had a really good display defensively and offensively, causing problems for Sheffield United. And when Bentancur's back fit, he's going to have a hard time getting back into this team.
I thought another really good display from him. I like the fact that he's getting in those positions to take shots even from outside the box, and he's getting them on target, and he's looking threatening, because we need that extra goal threat. I think we need to let the opposition know that, like, even if you can stop like Son or you can stop Kulusevski, we still have another threat coming from midfield, which you have to think about, and that's what Sarr is providing for us at the moment. I think passing wise, I think he kept things more simple. I don't remember too many more adventurous passes that he did. He did have 2 key passes on the day, so he was involved in like setting up chances and stuff. So I think it was a really solid display. I think he's had better displays this season, but I was again really happy with him, and I thought contributed to the team really well. I did think it was the right decision to take him off when we did, to provide that little bit more of an attacking edge on the pitch, put Kulusevski in the centre. I think that was the right decision, but I thought throughout the game it was really solid again from Pape.
How great is it, like, to think about these performances from like Destiny and Pape Matar, which is probably they're like, I don't want to say poorest, because poor is not the right word for it, but maybe like lowest ranked performances of the season, and they still play like that. Like, how good is it? Amazing. To think
100%. And it's such a young age to have that kind of baseline, which is very impressive.
Next up is Yves Bissouma, 9s all round for Bis, and I thought he was so vital to us winning the game. First half, there was one moment where he just basically dribbled through the whole of the Sheffield United team. They just didn't know how to get the ball off him. A bit of a poor finish at the end of it, where the keeper did really well, but I think like his dribbling ability for a number 6, I don't know if there's any 6 in the Premier League that has his ability to dribble like Bissouma does. I felt like he just grew in influence as well as the game wore on. Those final 20 minutes when we were 1-0 down, he was just like, just give me the ball, let me do my magic. He was the one. Everything was just going through him. Everything. And he was just so vital. He just took that responsibility on the scruff of the neck, and he was literally just so important for us winning that game, and for me, man the match.
Yeah, phenomenal. And he was so unlucky not to get on the score sheet as well. If he would have scored that could have been goal of the month, or with the ability to,
when he was doing it, I was like, do a Marley. Just
cut back. It's just incredible how good he is he has such good close control as well. The ball seems glued to his feet, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think again, the stats bear out how good his all-round game is, because he won 7 of his 12 ground duels. He completed 4 of his 4 dribbles. He had 3 key passes on the day as well, which was, I think, third of any Tottenham player. So literally every phase of the game, ball carrying, chance creation, and as well defensive ability, he's literally top of all the metrics. And for a defensive midfielder, it's so impressive for him to do that. And I agree. I think as the game wore on, he was gaining more and more influence, and it was so good to see. Like, I think one of the biggest criticisms I had of him at Brighton was he was such a great player, like in the centre of the park, and he was so hard to deal with. But when it came to like actual influence on like final third displays and final third effectiveness, and like actually getting involved in like trying to set up chances and being actually effective for his team getting a goal, I felt like for Brighton that was always something he could improve on. But that seems to be something that he's very much improving on for Tottenham at the moment, and I think he's becoming such an effective player in all phases of the game, and it's so impressive.
Absolutely. Moving on to James Maddison. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I did think Maddison was good, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like, again, like other players that we talk about with Sarr and Udogie, it was probably his lowest ranked performance of the season so far. There was one great moment when he goes bursting into the box in the first half. I thought he should have done a bit better with that shot. But he was unbelievably creative. Once again, he was like putting through balls to Heung-min Son like it was nobody's problem. He was being very influential on the day. I just felt like he was more sloppy than maybe what he has been over the past 4 or 5 games. But I guess that's just the high bar that he set for himself, to be honest.
I thought he had another strong display, personally. I thought what was really impressed by him in this one more than most other games was his ability off the ball. He was like he was really, really aggressive, and he won 9 of his 13 ground duels, which I think goes to show how good he is off the ball. Maybe he doesn't get enough credit for that. 4 key passes during the day as well, completed 3 of his 5 dribbles, so he was really involved in the attacking phases. I think off the ball he allowed us to sustain pressure on the Sheffield United team as well, with wasn't being a liability off the ball with his pressing, so that was really, really good. Was creating chances throughout the game for a lot of his teammates. I thought his crossing was really, really good. I thought his corners were decent as well. I thought it was a really good display from Maddison. I was pretty happy with him.
Yeah, look, the only criticism I have is just that he was more sloppy on the ball than maybe he has been in previous weeks. But like I said, it's the high bar he sets for himself, and I have no problems with the way he performed because I still think he had a really good performance. Next up is Dejan Kulusevski. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. His best display of the season by far, in my opinion. When he was out wide, he was causing Sheffield a lot of problems, but I felt like he really stamped his authority in the game when he moved into the centre of the park. He was absolutely sensational with the way he was playing. I think the stat was 5 key passes on the day or something like that, which is great, more than he's had probably in any game so far this season. And that clutch goal right at the end, that amazing finish to put it in the top corner in a nice reverse shot from Dejan to get us that win in such dramatic circumstances. So great display from Decky.
Yeah, I thought he was probably our brightest forward player throughout the 90 minutes. I was even before his switch to the centre, I was really impressed with his ability to create openings in really tight spaces with his really clever passing ability and really come up with creative passes through the lines. His ability to do little clever 1-2s, and even I thought when he did decide to take on the Sheffield United left back Luke Thomas, I thought he did really well, either cutting inside or going on the outside, providing problems for Sheffield United all day. It was very difficult for him to create the good quality chances due to Sheffield United's low block and how many numbers they had in the penalty area, but he still had 5 key passes throughout the game, which goes to show even in those difficult moments he was still able to find solutions. And obviously what a finish for the goal, coming into the central area which he finished the game in, and I thought he looked so creative in that spot, and it was a brilliant finish as well on his right foot, which a lot of people have been calling for him to use more. In a real clutch moment in that 100th minute of the game, to pick the ball up, take a touch, compose himself and fire it into the corner like he did with power. Really, really impressive, and a super display from Kulusevski, and he was my man of the match.
All right, and last but not least from the start, well, not last but not least actually, penultimate player is Heung-min Son. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6, and I thought he put a lot of effort into this game. He really did, but it was difficult for him to make a real impact in the game because every time he got the ball advancing up the pitch, he just had about 4 or 5 Sheffield United players around him all the time. But that did free up space around the pitch for the likes of Kulusevski and Solomon at times. But yeah, it was just difficult performance for him. I think that maybe he should have done a bit better with a few moments that were presented to him from James Maddison, with a few poor touches here and there. But I thought he worked really hard for the team, and I think we got a lot better in terms of attacking when he did go off and Richarlison came on.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision to take him off. What I'll say about Son is I felt like for his skill set and what he could provide to the team, I think he was probably doing the right things throughout the game. He was dropping a bit deeper, trying to get involved in the game, taking a few long shots from range where we know he can be deadly. There was a couple of occasions where he actually did have a couple of opportunities to get in on goal, but his touch let him down, and if his touch would have been better, maybe he could have made more of those opportunities. I think he was trying his best, but I just didn't think this game suited his style of how he was going to play that number 9 position, and I think he lacked a bit of presence in the box, which changed when Richarlison came on. And I think it was the right decision to probably take him off when we did, but I think he did all right for the player that he is in that situation.
And last but not least of the starting 11, Manor Solomon. On Jewish New Year, Manor Solomon put in a lovely display for us. Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 7. I thought he was actually our best creative outlet in the first half, causing no ends of problems down that left-hand side. His dribbling ability was on show, but I just felt it was a bit frustrating, his end product, to be honest, throughout the game. In the opening 60 minutes, I thought, he was providing really good moments for the team. Just that when he was getting in those positions to shoot, when he was getting in those positions to cross, I just felt he was found lacking a little bit. But I definitely give him high marks for effort, high marks for application on the pitch. It was just when he got into those positions to shoot, he just kept skying them over the bar.
Yeah, I thought it was a strong showing from Solomon. I actually thought his shooting was decent. I thought he was unlucky with a few attempts. A lot of them were quite close. One of them hit the stanchion. Another one forced a really good save out of Foderingham. I was very impressed with his ability to generate power with a short back lift, especially with the one when he was dribbled through the centre and then he took the shot in the D just outside the box and it forced a good save out of Foderingham. I thought a couple of occasions as well, he was going around the outside and causing problems for the Sheffield United fullback. There was one cross I remember, which Son got on the end of. It was a good ball from Solomon, but Son couldn't really make the most of with his heading ability. And I thought he did quite well up until he got taken off. But I did think he was running out of steam when he did get taken off, and it was the right decision. And obviously Perisic came on and provided some good service. So another positive display from Solomon, getting more involved in the attacking phase as well. But it'd be nice for him to get a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a few Israelis sitting around me yesterday and they were literally just dying for Manor to score yesterday, but it didn't happen. But he still had a really good game. Let's move on to the substitutes. We're going to start talking about Richarlison first. Sim gives him a 9 and I gave him a big fat 10. What more does he need to do to get a 10? Come on, with 20 minutes to go, 1-0 down and lay off a goal and an assist to win 2-1 in such dramatic circumstances. I felt like he was a bit wasteful before he did get that goal. But after he got that goal, I felt like the confidence was oozing out of him and his link-up play was really good. Lovely pass to Dejan Kulusevski for the final goal when we won 2-1. And obviously he took that header really well. He did miss a header just moments before where maybe he should have done a bit better from. But I thought he gave us such a good presence in that middle of the box and gave us the option that maybe Son wasn't giving us.
Yeah, I think he gave us exactly the threat that we were missing, and that was a physical presence inside the box where we could swing crosses in and have someone to aim at. And I thought he was really up for the physical battle. He seemed to be intent on making a difference. He had that header just over the bar just before he scored, but he was just causing a nuisance for Sheffield United, and he caused problems which they weren't facing before he came on, and that was the most positive thing. I thought he took his goal really well, brilliant header from the corner, and then really good presence of mind to pick out Kulusevski for the assist as well. And I think the stat that probably highlights what he brought is that he came on in 20 minutes and he won 3 of his 5 aerial duels, and that was second in the whole team, only to Van de Ven, who won 5 aerial duels throughout the day. So I think that probably shows what a difference in terms of the attacking presence that he had compared to what we had before, and it's exactly what we needed. And I think his presence probably what won us the game.
Absolutely. And Ven Perisic, Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 9. Again, he came on and gave us exactly what we needed with his crossing ability. Really great. He put in a number of good crosses on the day, even ones that just no one could make a connection to. Just lovely balls just going into the box time and time again after he came on. Obviously his corner, that Richarlison, I don't know where the marking was for Richarlison, to be honest, but a great delivery. And obviously he's the one that played the ball to Richarlison to play it into to Kulusevski as well. So I thought he provided exactly, both him and Richarlison pretty much just provided exactly exactly what we needed in that moment of the game to go and win that game and ask different questions than what we were asking previously.
Yeah, and what I really liked about his performance is that every time he got the ball, he seemed to get a cross off. His crosses weren't getting blocked. He wasn't too interested in trying to beat his man or create the space. He was just trying to create a little half a yard just to get the ball in, and more often than not, the ball had a lot of quality on it, and that's what we needed, just that little bit of extra finesse and quality from the wide areas which he provided. I thought, the corner for Richarlison was great, and also that little clever flick around the corner to find Richarlison for the second goal as well was really underrated, because it was very quick thinking, and it created that space for Richarlison to go on and create the goal as well, and that's underrated, that little touch from him as well. And I thought he just added that touch of quality and class off the bench, which really helped us get over the line in a really good cameo display. And that's run comes along from a series of good cameo displays now from Perisic.
Because he has such quality in his age, obviously, like to come on in those last 10 minutes for us when we're really pushing for the goal. He's got that star quality in that foot, in that leg, that he could just whip in a ball from anywhere on that left-hand side. And it's such a great option for us to have, to be honest. And with Richarlison, who obviously is much better with his head than he is with his feet, it's just a really good combination to have to come off the bench when we're really struggling to really break a team down. So great stuff. Next up, Emerson Royale. He also came on for Pedro Porro in the last stage of the game. 6s all round. And I thought it was a bright cameo. He was providing some good option for us with a lot of energy when Porro was clearly tiring in the game. And he just gave us that just a new sense of energy really on that right-hand side.
Yeah, I think his job was pretty much just to prevent any counter-attacks from Sheffield United at that point. Porro was tiring. We needed some extra legs. I don't think he provided too much going forward, but defensively he just kept up the intensity and the pressure on Sheffield United, and it provided a good option for the team.
Next up, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 7s all round from us, and when he came on, the game was a bit nuts, and I felt like when he came on, he gave us that bit more calm in the midfield and gave us that air of, just chill out, guys. We're going to get this done. And that's exactly what happened. And he had his say in the last goal as well. He's the one that started the move. So brilliant. I thought it was a really good cameo from Pierre.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think another player who's coming on and providing a cameo for the team with a bit of experience. And I thought it was a really clever move from Ange Postecoglou to move him into midfield next to Bissouma and just really force the issue on Sheffield United, throw caution to the wind and push the players up. And I think it worked. He was involved in the second goal. He helped out Udogie winning the ball back and then gave it over to Perisic, who played it into Richarlison, and we obviously got the goal. And then obviously he moved into centre-back for the last couple of minutes of the game when we really needed him to just make sure that we get over the line, and I thought he did that really, really well. So I was really happy with Pierre again. Another good cameo from him.
And last but not least, big Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. I thought like we were very unlucky not to be in the lead before Sheffield United took their lead, to be honest. And I think testament to the way Ange set us up and the team he selected, I thought everything was pretty spot on. Maybe he could have gone with Son out left and Richarlison up top, but I'm not going to make too many complaints about that, because those were the subs that really impacted the game and helped us to go on and win the game in such dramatic circumstances. And like I said, the subs were absolutely spot on, bringing on Perisic and Richarlison at the time that we needed them. I thought Højbjerg as well was a really good sub, and also Emerson even added something to the tiring legs of Pedro Porro. So I think every sub was pretty much spot on. And it's not just the game, but it's just everything to do with Ange and the way he's transformed this club from top to bottom, to be honest. And I can't have higher praise for the man. He's done everything absolutely perfectly since he's come in, apart from maybe nine changes in that Fulham game. Yeah,
what a man, honestly. I'm just loving every second of Ange Ball and Ange Postecoglou at the moment. He's getting all the big calls right. He got the subs absolutely spot on. I think that the team that we set up, I think maybe in hindsight, we maybe should have started Richarlison in this game, but off the back of Son scoring a hat-trick, you can't really blame him too much. We predicted Son to start anyway, so it's not like I'm criticising him. But I think logically, we said before the game, maybe Richarlison was better suited to this kind of game, and that probably bore out in the in how the game went. But I think by and large he got everything absolutely spot on. I think that he timed the subs to perfection with knowing the amount of time that we were going to have left over in stoppage time. I thought we were the better team overall anyway. And then obviously after the game you see that, you know, how the connection between the fans and the players is so tight, and that's the kind of togetherness he's brought, and I'm absolutely loving every second of it and hope it continues for a long time.
Absolutely. So that is our player ratings from the 2-1 win in the Late Show against Sheffield United. But yeah, I mean, I just love bringing these streams on days like this. Like, it's just like, how many days did we have like this last season? Like hardly any, literally. Because even when we won, we were just like, it was just like the poorest displays. That was the honest truth.
We beat City, but we weren't even at the game for that. Can't remember too many days, but it was just such a delight to talk about the game.
Yeah, but let's get on to our 5 takeaways, where we're going to take a look at the 2-1 victory over Sheffield United and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. And let's start with number 1, and that is Decky Delight.
Yeah, and obviously Kulusevski's for me, a man in form. He's playing very well at the moment. I thought he continued his really great form in this game. Really, really strong showing. The stats bear out as well. 5 key passes, 3 big chances created, 2 shots on target, 2 accurate crosses as well, and obviously scored the late winner. Really strong showing from Kulusevski, and also showed, was this the first time that we've seen him in the number 8 position under Postecoglou? Yeah. And I thought he moved inside for those last few 10 minutes or so, provided a really good option when he moved inside as well. Obviously, that's where he got the goal from, and maybe that's something for Postecoglou to think about in the future. Maybe that could be an option for him if we're in a similar situation. We need to break down a low block, and we need that extra man to be in the centre who could be a bit more incisive. He showed he can do that, and as well, you know, that stat came up in midweek. He's run the most out of anyone in the Premier League, and maybe that is also another stat that can show. Maybe that's another stat that can show kind of his willingness to put the hard work in. And yeah, I think that a really good display from him.
I actually thought he looked even more confident and more creative when he moved into that number 8 position. Would you like to see him start there?
Alongside Maddison?
Or maybe even like instead of Maddison, like if Maddison needs a rest or something.
I think he could be an option there. I think he could be an option in the centre, 100%. Would I like to see him start there? Maybe on occasion. I still think he's probably best off on the right, but I think he showed he can be a very good option in there, 100%.
Yeah,
I think he could be a bit like a Bernardo Silva kind of player. I really believe that.
Yeah,
could be very good in both positions.
And I feel like that was his best display of the season so far. And if he can just keep building on performances like he had yesterday, then we're going to see Kulusevski get back to those levels of what he was at when he first joined the football club.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's move on to number 2, and that is Rishi to the rescue.
Yeah, and what an impact Richarlison had when he came off the bench. Literally only had 20 minutes off the bench, and we needed him to come up with something if we were going to get anything out of the game. And he provided exactly what we needed. He won 3 of his 5 aerial duels, which showed what an impact he made physically on the game. 1 key pass. He had 3 shots on his time on the pitch, 2 on target. Obviously ended the game with a goal and assist as well. After the week he's had, after the troubles he's had, it's so amazing that he came on and put that, gave that performance under the circumstances. And I thought he really showed what he can offer for this team and the different kind of threat he can offer, just more physical, a physical threat. And I thought he really showed what he can provide, and I thought the header was great. I thought it was a really great assist for Kulusevski as well, and I just think he added exactly what we were missing throughout the 90 minutes.
Yeah, and you've seen from him like last season and this season where the weight of pass has just been completely off from Richarlison, and that weight of pass for that little pass into Kulusevski was just absolutely spot on. Any week or any harder, it probably would have been a bit off, but to come on, to completely change the game, to add that threat that he hasn't maybe added in previous weeks, to score, get an assist. I mean, you can't really ask much more from Richarlison. So hopefully this can kickstart his Tottenham career now, because we really need him. So if he can, like I said with Kulusevski, if he can build on performances like yesterday and start making a difference in games like he did yesterday, then we won't be talking about a waste of 60 million, and we'll be talking about a really good asset for the team. So 100%. Big up to Rishi, and a really good display yesterday, and hopefully all the Rishi haters can get back in their holes. Let's move on to number 3, and let's talk about the Late Show.
Yeah, and obviously Spurs broke a record yesterday. They broke their own record. Spurs did hold the record for the latest a team has won a game when they've been losing, and that was Steven Bergwijn against Leicester, with Spurs losing in the 95th minute and ending up turning it around. We actually broke that record yesterday, as Spurs were losing the game yesterday up until the 98th minute before we were able to turn it around in the 100th minute and end up winning the game, which is unbelievable to see. I think Spurs also hold the record as well, if I remember right, for winning a game by 2 goals after losing, and I think that was against Swansea back in 2017. We were losing up until the 89th minute.
We scored 3 goals, didn't we?
3, so we ended up winning the game by 2. So I think there's a few late records that we own.
There wasn't Ericsson just insane in that. Yeah,
exactly. So a great record to break again, and just goes to show how rare it is to see a win like that we did yesterday, and the mentality of the team to keep going up until the very last minute, and we got our reward.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just such like when you win the game in that manner, that just shows everyone why this game is just the best game in the world. The emotions that come out. I mean, the stadium was just incredible yesterday, and if we would have just won the game 2-1 in normal time, and it was just like a standard game, and it was over after like 95 minutes, you just wouldn't get those emotions like we got yesterday. And to win a game in that fashion is always just so magical, to be honest, and it brings the best out of people, and it brings those just raw emotions that you just don't get anywhere else, and it's just unbelievable to witness it.
A lot of people commenting on the limbs as well, the home limbs. Some of the best home limbs they've ever seen. That's what a lot of accounts say.
I mean, I think it's the best limbs that I've been a part of in that stadium for sure.
There you go.
And that was at home to Sheffield United, not against Ajax in the Champions League, not against Arsenal, not against Man City. Oh, sorry, I should say Man City. Well, but we didn't score in both of those games, to be fair. But the penalty save against Man City, when Lloris saved that penalty against Aguero, I mean, that was limbs. But I mean, this was something else. It really was. Let's move on to number 4, and that is a refereeing shambles.
Yeah, and I thought the referee was horrendous yesterday. 13 yellow cards on the day, which I thought he completely lost control from minute 1 of that game. We obviously ended up sending off Ollie McBurney for dissent, which I thought was a really harsh decision. He missed the Maddison penalty, which I thought definitely should have, via VAR, should have gone back to and got involved with. He also had made some bizarre decisions when it came to drop balls after the crowd were throwing balls back onto the pitch from corners, and he had 2 identical situations and gave 2 different decisions, one a drop ball to Spurs, one a drop ball to Brighton. I thought just throughout the game he was very frustrated with how he was managing the game, and I think it was just a shocking, one of the worst refereeing displays I've seen in recent times.
Yeah, and you know what? We've been talking about the referees throughout the season so far, and this was probably the worst of the lot. I mean, I don't understand how a multi-billion-pound industry like the Premier League cannot get better refs and better refs essentially in place, because all the tech is there for VAR, and that's great and everything, but I just don't understand how things can just keep going the way they're going. They seem to be getting progressively worse as opposed to progressively better, and it just makes no sense, because this is literally like they've got all the money in the world to like put into training for referees and all this kind of stuff, and just nothing seems to be getting better.
Yeah, it was so strange. Probably the worst refereeing performance I've seen since we beat Brighton at home last season.
We'll take that one on the chin. But let's move on to the 5th and final takeaway, and that is home comforts, Ange.
Yeah, and look, yesterday's game threatened to end Ange Postecoglou's unbeaten home record, but he actually made it to 15 games unbeaten now at home for Ange Postecoglou, for Yokohama, Celtic, and now Spurs, which is a really impressive number for him. And also it marked our best start to a season since 1965, with 4 wins over our past 5 games. Best start to a Premier League season. Obviously last season was our best start after 10, so we'll have to wait and see what happens after 10 games.
So we've had a better start this season than we did when we won the double?
No,
maybe
65.
Oh, 65.
So now 61 we won the double. So maybe not since then, but look, just goes to show how impressive our start has been under Ange and how rare it is that we never start like this.
Yeah, I mean, under Pochettino, we used to have like slow starts to the season, didn't we? Under Nuno, we had 3 wins in a row, but then that was followed by 3 defeats.
Yeah.
So look, I think You won't get a Spurs fan out there that is not getting a bit giddy with the way things are going. And I think I love that quote from Ange Postecoglou after the game, talking about, is it your job to really like temper the expectations of the fans? And he's like, what do you mean temper the expectations of the fans? Let them get giddy, let them get excited.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's exactly what we should be doing as fans. And that is exactly what is bringing all these limbs and all these great celebrations and non-stop singing and all this stuff. Like, I hate these people that come out and being like, oh, it's just 5 games in, stop getting overexcited, stop getting this, stop getting that. I'm like, if you can't enjoy your team when they're playing well and after such dark days under Conte, Jose, Nuno and all this thing, if you can't enjoy this, then what the hell is football for?
100%, I completely agree. And I love that's what Ange said as well after the game, saying like, if fans want to get carried away, it's not my job to say they shouldn't get carried away and stuff like that. It's our job to live up to their excitement rather than dampen their expectations. And I absolutely love that. And obviously he's not saying, oh, we're going to win the league or anything, but I just love that he's appreciating that, what fans feel, and that he's not telling them they're wrong for feeling that way, and he's not telling them, oh, it's only 5 games, you shouldn't get over. He's like, go for it, just go hell for leather, go over the top, say we're world beaters now, just go for it, enjoy the moment, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, that is your 5 takeaways from the game against Sheffield United. 2-1 victory in the most craziest of circumstances. 2 goals, 98th minute and 100th minute. Unbelievable stuff. But let us know if we have missed anything out that we have taken away from the game. Let us know in the comment section below. But let's finally move on.
Before that, I just want to say, I've seen the comments. We did not rate Brennan Johnson by accident, which was missed. But
let's rate him now.
I'm happy to rate Brennan Johnson now. I thought we didn't really mention him too much before, but I thought we had a really good cameo, and I thought he really provided another threat, didn't he?
Have we got the asset for it? No. All right, fine. Well. Huh?
I rated him a 7.
I rated him a 7 as well.
Both rated him a 7.
All right, so Brennan Johnson gets a 7 all round from us. I thought it was a really good cameo. I thought he came on with energy, skill as well. He got in behind for that goal, which he took really well, which was a slightly offside. But apart from that, he was getting the ball and he was causing problems on that right-hand side. A bundle of energy, like I said, and he was even dribbling through some of the Sheffield United players. And I thought he gave us exactly what we needed at that time as well. And like we keep saying, I think he can provide a really good threat for us when we play teams that play a high line.
Yeah, and you can see his pace is electric, and he actually had a goal and an assist ruled out because he had an assist ruled out because of the foul that he made just before the assist. Was probably the right decision. Obviously the offside was offside, but you saw how well he took that offside goal. Brilliant touch to take into his path, and then he just waited for the keeper to dive early and was able to slot it in the other way, and that was a really, really nice moment for him. And I just thought on the right hand side, he was causing him a lot of trouble with his pace, and again provided a different threat to what Kulusevski offered, and that was really, really good to see. And I think hopefully it's a sign of the different kind of unpredictable threats we can now have in our attack.
Absolutely. So that's Brennan Johnson for you guys.
There you go, guys.
But let's finish off talking, going through Twitter and seeing how Twitter reacted to the game yesterday. So if you bring it on, you see this is the first one that we're going to go through. It's Heung-min Son talking about Richarlison, and he's saying, seeing Richarlison score felt better than me scoring. Richarlison has had difficulties since last week, and I'd been thinking about how I could help him. He is a talented friend, and it was unfortunate that he was blaming himself due to the bad luck and other reasons. I know how it feels, and I've experienced similar difficult times, so I hope he can show a stronger side and grow after today's game. And I think we're all feeling like that, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's so great to hear the captain speak like that. And you saw after the game, I think maybe there's a clip of it which will come up, which we'll see. But I thought it's so nice to see him kind of showing encouragement, even though technically he's like competition for him in the starting 11, like just showing the love and showing the support and dragging him to the Spurs fans after the game as well to make sure that he's feeling the love, and it was just great to see.
I found this one really funny from Project Football, a meme from Four Lions when they're all in the car singing Dancing in the Moonlight. And the one in the front is just not happy at all, and the rest of them are just screaming it. And you've got Man United being the unhappy one, and then Man City, Tottenham and Liverpool just dancing away. Amazing. And I thought that was brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love that. My favourite memes, that one.
Ethan says Peter Banks, the worst refereeing display in Premier League history. Just look how many bookings on the day. I mean, 1, 2,
13.
3, 4. Well, I don't need to count them. 13 bookings
13.
on the day. Unbelievable.
It's a crazy amount. I wonder when the last time there was that many bookings in a game.
Yeah, crazy. Next up from the Spurs Army saying, good night, Tottenham Hotspur fans, with Bissouma and Heung-min Son going for it into the camera. Brilliant stuff. This is what togetherness looks like in the squad, and you just see all the team, Mickey van der Ven, Sarr, literally all of them just on top of the world after scoring that winner while the game is still going on. Some great stuff there.
Absolutely fantastic. I think this is this is when full time everyone celebrates. Absolutely fantastic to see. One thing I did notice, I don't have been reading too much into it, but like no one really went up to Eric Dyer. He was kind of very much low. I didn't
actually realise until now that he was on the bench yesterday, and Ashley Phillips wasn't.
Yeah, which I told you, he's going to be our backup centre back. Which
Don't
is
agree,
not
man.
Great, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's great to see the togetherness in the squad, isn't it? And they're all hugging each other. There's a great clip I'll get to, I think, as well for Leeds, but we'll see.
This is the future from the Spurs Watch with Udogie, Van der Ven, Kulusevski, Sarr and Brennan Johnson all having a hug. I think must have been after Decky scored.
And all those players, Johnson's 22, Sarr's 20, Kulusevski 23, Van der Ven 22 and Udogie 20. So like that is literally the future of Spurs, right?
The future is bright. The future is lily white. This was the penalty decision from Maddison. Look, that's a clear kick in the back of the ankles. I just don't understand how that's not a penalty. I thought it was a stone waller. Look at it.
Yeah, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. I don't know why VAR not getting involved if it's not being seen. That should be a penalty, 100%.
Next up is I'm loving Big Ange instead. Shot by Ben Haynes. The South Stand just
it gave me
in full voice.
Listening to this, can they hear it? It's so great. It's brilliant. I just love they were playing Angels after the game, and then you got the fans bellowing it out. Absolutely
I found it weird though, because it was like when the song was going on, people were actually singing like the Angels lyrics.
So do they start literally from the start of the song?
No,
I sit and wait. They didn't stop from there. Okay, good. Because that might have been a bit awkward.
No, they brought it on from that. But actually, people were singing the actual Angels lyrics and not the Ange lyrics.
Oh, really?
And then when it came to the end, the whole stadium in unison just sang, I'm loving Big Ange instead.
Maybe they just don't know. Maybe not enough fans know the lyrics yet.
Yeah. Next up, this is Dejan Kulusevski's game by numbers: 62 touches, 34 final third passes, 14 touches in the opposition box, which is the most, 7 shots, which is the most, 5 chances created, which is the most, 3 big chances, which is the most, 2 shots on target and 1 goal. Gimme, a ginger from Sweden.
Fantastic stuff.
Lovely stuff. And this is the big. I mean, we can't watch the whole thing, but go to Bane Haynes' Twitter. You'll see the whole interview there. It really is. It really is. And Ben Haynes just says, watch all of this. He is absolutely amazing, and he most definitely is. Lee McQueen saying, this guy has been a first-class signing, celebrating the winner too. Absolutely class. He just ran the absolute length of the pitch when we scored that winner.
Yeah, one of the best things I've seen. Yeah, 100%.
Next up is The Athletic saying...
no, I think we can skip past that.
We can skip that past that one, Simeon says. We've seen that picture already. And this is the whole Spurs team. Absolute bedlam in the Spurs stadium. Where Sheffield United players down to their feet, down to the ground as the whole stadium just absolutely erupts.
What a picture. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like a... You know, remember that when we played Chelsea that one time at Stamford Bridge and all those amazing pictures were coming out?
This is like the polar opposite.
Yeah, it's the opposite. But I love like snapshots in time of things like that. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
And you see all the fans going crazy. All the players don't know what they're doing. All the dejection of Sheffield United. It's great. What a great picture.
And the next one is Sonny is the captain we've needed for years. And I actually think like he's showing like more leadership qualities. I know Kane was never our captain, but he was definitely a leader on the pitch than Kane ever did.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Sonny is more of a captain to like bring everyone together. Kane was like a captain leading by example, like look at my professionalism, look how good I am kind of thing. But Sonny is more of a guy who I think like gets more camaraderie out of everyone. I never felt like Kane was that kind of character. And
he since he's been given the captain's armband, he's actually like really proud. You can really see that he's so proud to be this club's captain, where I've never really felt about that in a way of a Spurs captain ever before.
I think you're probably right about that.
Next up, this is FPL saying this aged well. Richarlison was Spurs' most sold player of game week 5. He earned a goal and assist. The most bought players all blanked. If that isn't FPL in a nutshell, we don't know what is. Unbelievable. That. The most sold player.
Love that. I can't. That's a kick in the teeth for whoever sold him.
Who sold him? Did you sell him?
No, I sold him.
Who did you sell him for?
Maddison, because Maddison got injured. I took him out, and then I kept Richarlison in, and then I took out Richarlison, put Maddison in.
So you're one of those players.
I am.
So you had him in there for the first 4 games of the season and sold him for this one.
Correct.
That's what you get. That's what you get. Hotspur related saying Tottenham comeback today was their 100th Premier League win after conceding the first goal. The only other team to reach such a milestone is Manchester United with 103 victories.
Love that. That's good. Good stat.
This is from Tobes, just Bissouma dancing in front of the South Stand yesterday.
Absolutely love that.
I mean, he is just becoming such a hero for Spurs, isn't he?
He loves a good dance with the fans, doesn't he? He does it every game. It's absolutely fantastic.
This is from Poisondon ITK. You don't ever forget. Every masterpiece with a picture of Richarlison has its cheap copy with Kane, Lewandowski, R9, Haaland, and Mbappe.
Come on.
This is Tottenham Hotspur. Maddison. I mean, Maddison was getting so frustrated on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah, he was threatening to boil over at one point. But
then as soon as we got those winners, I mean, you just saw all of that stress just release.
100%. I think that's probably the same with all of us.
Billy T saying a couple of underrated shouts for Perisic, who was an excellent when he came on. Udogie, who started the second goal, and Van de Ven, who was just brilliant all game. Really like the Johnson cameo too. What a time to be alive. This is...
unbelievable.
Spurs Express, just a picture of Brennan Johnson saying Brennan loving it already. I loved his post-match interview as well. He just seemed like a schoolboy just coming through, like really nervous and stuff. It was just brilliant to see.
He said he was nervous before he came on, he said, which is interesting, but didn't seem it.
Yeah. Football Away Days saying some of the best limbs I've ever seen from a home end. Impressive. And it really was. It really was. Let's just see the limbs again. Boom! But let's move on quickly.
No, I don't think we could show it.
Next up is Billy T. Vicario when we scored.
I love this. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Brilliant.
Next up is Tottenham with Ballers with Richarlison and Decky. Love that. And Decky had some great words for Richarlison after the game as well.
What did he say? I didn't see that. What did he say?
Oh, did you not say? He was just talking about how much of a top player he is, and people are judging him a bit too early. And I can't remember the exact words that he said, but it was off the ilk. Was just like, just keep supporting him. He's a great player.
I love that.
The Armed Forces as well, the most joyous and chaotic celebrations you'll see. This is the Rabbi in the concourse as well, and it's great to see the Rabbi really celebrating like that, because I don't know if you guys know, but he did have a heart attack. If you scroll down, Sam, this video, the Rabbi, he did have a heart attack a couple of weeks ago, so it's great to see him in good spirits with his hat on a stick. Yeah, exactly.
Looks to be enjoying himself. Cheer up to the Rabbi.
Next up is Alex Mitten, strong contender for best of the season. Go on, silence. Yes! I love that.
Watch that. Absolutely fantastic. There's so many clips of when that goal goes in, and the scenes. It's just so great to see.
Next up is the Ange area. All the players going in unison towards the South Stand, and with the celebrations going on. And this is a great clip from Alejo Veliz, the way he was celebrating after the game.
This one is great. You can see if you see in the background, he's the one with the cap, the flat cap behind, and he's going nuts. It's absolutely fantastic. Everyone's saying,
Brian Hill as well.
Yeah, Brian Hill. Everyone's saying this is Veliz's first experience at the Tottenham Stadium. Great to see. And then you got Bentancur, Phillips as well, next to each other as well, all going crazy. Bentancur's going out, and then obviously you got Postecoglou there. You got to try to make out what's behind it, but it's great.
I love Postecoglou when they asked him after the game, was like, why weren't you celebrating the goal too much? He's like, I had to sort out the back four, mate.
Yeah. Got to put Højbjerg back in there. Brilliant.
What have we got here? I'm just starting out, but I love the guys at We Are Tottenham. That's something else. Expressions. Delete the slander you had ready to send to me. That was lovely.
I love that.
Is that it?
There's a couple more if you go down.
Luca. This is the Son.
Yeah.
This is Son pushing Richarlison towards the south stand.
What a great moment this was. Brilliant moment. That is just what captains made. That's proper captain material from Sonny. Look at that, just making sure Richarlison gets the adulation he deserved after that cameo. And it's just great. I love to see that, the players going over to the fans and just showing their appreciation. It's so great to see.
And then if you scroll a bit down to the Jacko one about Kulusevski, let the praise be as loud as the disrespect, my star boy. And that's obviously a testament to the way Decky played yesterday. So brilliant stuff. And I think that is pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much it. So that is how Twitter reacted. That is the post-match stream done and dusted for you guys. And I can't wait to bring one of similar ilk for the North London Derby next week. 100%. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you all very soon. Let's hope Everton and Bournemouth can do the jobs for us today. But like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.